And we are live. I apologize. A few production notes before we went live, and look at who's here. Boston Comments herself. How you doing? Good to have you here. Good to have everybody here. Bellator 273 breakdown. It's crazy. It's up to 273. I had to adjust one of the banners. We've been doing this since at least Bellator like 217 apparently. So it goes back a little ways, but yeah, definitely looking forward to this card here. I think it's a very, very solid card. No UFC this week does not mean no MMA. We're also going to talk at the end very briefly about the Eagle FC card on Friday. I did a little bit of a breakdown or deep dive on it, but not as much to do a video on it. But I think it'll be fun to kind of talk about at the end here. But how you doing, Lewis? Norton MMA himself, the busy man, always on the YouTube here with the breakdowns. How you doing?
Yeah, not bad, dude. Not bad. It's a good card for a finally. You know, the whole from start to finish, it seems decent instead of the last three fights on these cards normally.
Yeah, unification heavyweight title belt or title on the line, by the way, between Bader, who went from like the best fighter in MMA to like now he's again Ryan Bader, it seems like. But like there was like that period of time when he was like double champ, and like they started talking about what could have been if he like didn't leave the UFC. And now like I don't know where we're really at. It is in Arizona, this fight card, and I do think that should be noted. That is where one of the guys in the first fight and last fight are from. If the first fight is, according to Tapology, what it is right now, which if the first fight is what it is here, I think that'd be pretty crazy. But yeah, I'm excited about this card. I don't think there's a whole lot of debuts on this card. I think it's a lot of I don't know if there are any really debutants on this card, or at least not any fight where it's two. So before we get started, I have to get my whiteboard, of course, because I need to keep track of the timestamps. But 1 second, tell people kind of what what's coming up with regards to matchups for you. I know that you're churning them out right now, and you're killing it. So just tell people, and we'll get started. 1 second.
Yeah, we've just done a Jamal Hill versus Johnny Walker breakdown on the channel. Tomorrow is off of the Bellator doubling card. We have Austin Vanderford and Gegard Mousasi. That's coming out tomorrow. 1 p.m. GMT. What's that for you? Well, it depends all around the States, isn't it?
Yeah, we're 5 hours. I'm 5 hours ahead of you right now. It's 3 p.m. in the States. Or behind, exactly. Yeah. So, so at 1, you said at 1
p.m. my time.
Okay, so 1 p.m. So, yeah, right in the morning for us, right around sometime in the morning. I can't do math, but it's like 6 a.m. We wake up. I wake up to Norton videos, so it's like 6 a.m. usually. Yeah. So if you're on the West Coast, 3 a.m. Have yourself a bender and go to sleep with a Norton video. Visceral MMA. Great to have you here. Giving some love to Lewis. I love it.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's great. Yeah, Visceral is always in here too. Walker versus Hill was a great one. You got Steve over there. You're talking with all sorts of people. So, it's the global world of MMA. But we are here to talk about Bellator. I know that that's why most people are tuning in. So, again, timestamps in the description after the video. I am going based on Tapology for fight order. And Weber Almeida was added late. I don't know if you were able to check out his opponent. I was able to look into his opponent a little bit, but I know he was kind of in and out of the card. But Weber Almeida is on the card here. We do start, if this is correct, with you're going to have to get to YouTube or wherever you watch your prelims right away, because I think this is one of the best fights of the night. Not just saying it because this guy happened to mention the breakdown in his mention in his story earlier. That is Big Tuna Ben Parrish, who shocked the world, shocked us against Christian Edwards, shocked the odds makers like a 10-1 underdog. The hindsight is beyond 2020 for what was everybody kind of thinking. He came off of a nasty Anderson Silva leg break, and showed that he really wanted this and put away a very impressive guy in Christian Edwards, who he's coming back. I think next week we'll be breaking down his fight, or in a couple weeks. I still expect a ton out of Christian Edwards, and I expect a ton out of both these guys as well. Ben Parrish taking on Sullivan Cauley of Arizona, Ryan Bader's team. So a lot of momentum for both of these guys. Super high level prospects. I agree. Bunny Big Tuna is the man. He absolutely is still, in fighting for some pretty powerful causes, which he's mentioned in a few of his interviews. He's like a very big anti-bully advocate. I've got to imagine, and I'm not even being mean based on how he kind of looks, he's dealt with that his whole life in one way or another. And he definitely has a huge chip on his shoulder. I mean, look at this. He's going up against this Sullivan Cauley guy, which, in all honesty, Sullivan Cauley, been really fun watching his tape from his amateur and pro career. His pro career has been pretty short, but his last fight out was definitely legit. Dion Clash, I believe, and he's only 25 years old. Both these guys in their 20s. And, I'm a little surprised that Bellator is kind of canceling out a prospect here by doing this, but I think whoever loses this fight is going to be just fine, just like Christian Edwards is going to be fine. But Sullivan Cauley, 6'3", 74.5-inch reach. You see him pictured with Ryan Bader. Definitely a Ryan Bader, basically a disciple. I mean, everything's crossed here. 25 years old, fighting out of Arizona, and this fight's in Arizona. As an amateur, one of his losses was to a 9-0 guy by split. The other one to Billy Elkanah. Billy Elkanah is 3-0 as a pro. He had a win in the amateurs over Brian Battle, amongst other fighters. So Elkanah, super legit, fought with LFA recently. So not at all a loss to be ashamed of. Never was finished as an amateur. As a pro, 2-0, 2 knockouts, a quick knockout in his debut with Bellator. And then Dion Clash, good grappler, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guy, athletic. The striking not really all there. And Sullivan Cauley really approached the fight very methodically. I think he was looking to go longer. And, it's always good when a fighter can accidentally finish a fight, which I know that sounds kind of weird, but he wasn't going in to finish that fight at the end. He just finished the fight, which is, a really great sign. But, Ben Parrish, Big Tuna, I really do also like him a ton. We saw him against Christian Edwards. We both were wrong in that first fight. Fighting out of the Doom crew in Mississippi. He is just a blue-collar, hard-working fighter, super legitimate jiu-jitsu practitioner, 4 finishes by submission before that finish on the feet. But he looks like he's really improved his striking. His striking wasn't 1 or 2 shots that got him the win against Christian Edwards. He really pieced it together well. I think this is going to be a great fight. I can't go against Big Tuna. I just pick it with my heart in a lot of ways here as well. But I think that Big Tuna not only can win this fight early, like he did in his last fight, but I think if it gets dirty, I like his kind of poise and his skills and overall his drive. I just don't think Sullivan Cauley has kind of faced the amount of kind of adversity overall that Ben has faced. Both in his career and outside of his career. I just think that Ben is just going to be ready for what Sullivan has. I think Sullivan's a very good nail. I don't know how he is when it's kind of back and forth, and I think this is going to be a war, potentially. But I favor Ben in this spot. He's a pretty big underdog, which I'm really shocked about after the last fight, but I'll take it. I think that we could see a submission possibly, though. I think he could go back to the jiu-jitsu. So I don't see him getting the Jorge Gurgel syndrome of forgetting that he has, I believe, a black belt, but he's a high-level Brazilian jiu-jitsu practitioner regardless. That was 5 minutes of me absolutely ranting there. I probably didn't leave much on the bone there, but I got Ben Parrish by submission here. Second round.
Yeah, I'm trying to take it out of the fact that Ben does follow me on social media. It's like take that out of it. No, I like Cauley a lot, to be honest, from what I have seen. what I like as well is when he decided to make the move from amateur to pro, he took a whole year to decide that. It's not like a quick 3 months, 4 months. It's a whole year. He grew a lot as a fighter from that debut as a pro. I also like his amateur record. It's almost like a pro record for some of those guys and the way that the fights have gone. The difference between it is the level of opponent. Now, we were moaning about Ben Parrish's opponents last time out, but someone like Christian, we really believed he was going to just flatline Ben Parrish.
Yeah.
We thought he was going to run through him. Next target, it was a complete tomato can, and it's not. He really isn't. He is legit. He's got great distance management. He moves really well for the size he is. He's got massive power, and I think he's either gonna shut it off. He follows all of us. Yeah, absolutely. He knows the neighborhood.
Yeah, he's definitely welcome on the dog anytime. And I always will make it clear when I'm making a breakdown and have a little bit of a tough time being completely objective, but I truly think. But go ahead, back to your breakdown. I didn't mean to
No. I was just going to say it could completely end the way you said. It could definitely hit the mat. They both like to grapple. We know what Ryan's camp's like. Ryan Bader's whole team they're strong wrestling backgrounds. Ben's got power though. He's got power that makes the difference. The way he just shuts your lights off is, he's got the Country Nelson vibe. You think he lures you in with the attraction of his whole persona, and then he just clips you once, and you're on the floor saying, "I want my rematch." So I've got Ben as well. I think it's going to be it's not going to be early. I think it's going to go on for a little bit. I think Corley's better than the record suggests. I think he's more experienced than the record suggests based on the camp, but I do think it's going to be Ben Parrish with the win. Yeah.
I'm with you. And I'm surprised it's the first fight of the night. I think both guys, and I'm surprised they're fighting each other. And Christian Edwards, I have all the belief in still too, but Christian Edwards clearly his camp not as sure. He's fighting a 6-6 guy next. So Ben Parrish knocked and Ben Parrish, that fight I believe was rescheduled a couple times too. So Ben had to stay really focused. He cuts down to 205 clearly. So I'm really excited about that fight. Whoever wins the fight definitely has a lot to live up to. The money continues to come in on Ben Parrish. This is not a surprise to me. I got him around plus 200, 2-1 underdog, which I was shocked about. I jumped on it right away. It's now plus 150. I think everybody's going to see the highlights of the Christian Edwards fight. Even though Coley also has some highlights, it's people. I really respect Dion Clash. I actually took a shot on Dion Clash in that fight because he was I believe a 5-1 underdog against Coley. But that's how good Coley really is. And I mean, he does look like they took Ryan Bader, put him in a DeLorean, sent him back 10 years and here you go, start over. And Ryan Bader at 25 was damn good. He was winning the Ultimate Fighter, getting ready to fight John Jones, and then everything changed after that. But that's the way for a lot of fighters. Minus 175 on Sullivan Coley. If you're betting Sullivan Coley, wait, because I think you can keep getting a better price. I just think people are gonna want to bet on Ben Parrish. But I do think he has the skills to back it up there. And it will be really a great way to start out the card there at light heavyweight. We'll move on now. This is the Weber Almeida fight. This is at 145 still as of now. I wouldn't be surprised if they end up making it a catch weight, but who knows? I just always leave that open. But 145 Weber Almeida, Brazil versus Fabricio Franco here. Fabricio Franco taking this on pretty short notice as far as I know. Yesterday I didn't see this fight on there, so maybe he found out a little ahead of time, but 27 years old versus Weber Almeida, 5-1, 34 years old with ex-gym Machida, trains with Machida. Fabricio Franco, MMA Masters though, 27 is a huge opportunity for the 8-4 fighter, 5'9", good size for him. He did lose his last fight out with Combate back in September of this year. It was a pretty competitive fight, but he did lose a decision. I was able to go watch it. Back, he was kind of controlled a little bit with the grappling, so not as worried in this kind of scenario, but faced kind of a so-so level of opponents so far Not a lot of names that I'm familiar with. Most of his losses coming early on, including one by submission, but mostly stand-up kickboxer. Big kickboxer likes it on the feet at space, and I think he's got a pretty willing opponent in Weber Almeida. I think it should be a pretty pleasing fight. Weber Almeida lost his last fight out to a guy that I'm not a big fan of, in Johnny Soto. I was very glad to see Johnny Soto lose in his last fight. I'll be honest. I just think that was a pretty bad performance by Almeida. I'll be honest though. He got crowded with the grappling and didn't seem to know what to do with it. When it's on the feet, he has highlight knockouts. Plain and simple. Hasn't faced a high level of opponent. I don't love that he's 34 years old. I really do think this is going to be a pretty close fight, actually. I think it's a pretty tough, short notice opponent. Depending on the price that I can see on Fabio as it gets announced, I definitely would be willing to take a shot if it's in the 3-1 range or more, because I do think that Weber Almeida, he's going to have all the highlight packages. They're just going to pretend the Joey Soto fight didn't happen and move forward. I don't think Franco can really follow that game plan that Soto did, so I kind of think it's moot for this. Almeida should win. I would possibly take a shot on, on Franco if I was going to, but very short notice, so it's tough to say.
Yeah,
Almeida was preparing for a fight, so
it is exactly what you said. Though should win. That it's kind of lined up for him to get back on the horse, but the age is a concern. When you're 34 years old and you're starting the career that late and your grappling is that crap, it's a bit bizarre. I actually surprisingly like Franco in this. I think he's faced a similar level of opposition, to be honest with you. I know a lot, like two of the fighters I think were making his debut against him when he fought a guy that was like 0-6, if I remember correctly, which is not good to have, but it's still experience and he's fresher, younger. He is better as a grappler.
Absolutely.
It's going to either be like a first round starching from Almeida, but I'll back Franco in this.
Okay.
I like an upset for this one personally.
Yeah. I'm curious to see the odds when they do come in. I'll stick with Almeida. I really did like him before that Joey Soto fight. I can't unsee that. But Joey Soto, as much as I dislike him, he's really good at one thing, and it's like forcing the grappling. And I believe he missed weight for that fight or the next fight. I don't know. I know Joey Soto's missed weight recently, so I'm not sure if it was the Weber Almeida fight. But yeah, Weber, he did look like he wasn't aware that mixed martial arts were mixed, which is always a concern for a 34-year-old fighter, particularly. Also, Franco's going to have a size advantage, too, in this fight. So very, very interesting short notice opponent. We've got, I think, really two back-to-back interesting 145 fights, this being the second one. Lucas Brennan taking on Ben Lugo. And Lucas Brennan, 5-0, looks like he's got all the goods and then some. Honestly, he looks like one of those guys I'd put on the – and, I mean, you know how I feel about Jalen Bates. I'd put him on that level.
That high.
Like just like maybe the next level of prospect down. Jalen Bates is the apex for me. When he loses, it's going to be a dark day for me when Jalen Bates loses, because I just don't believe that's going to happen ever, which is not a good way to go with MMA. But right now we got 5-0 Lucas Brennan here taking on the 5-4 Ben Lugo. So right off the bat on paper, I think people are just assuming this is all set. This is a wrap. Lucas Brennan all day is being set up again. I actually don't. I think this is going to be a very, very interesting matchup potentially if Lucas can't get the grappling going right away, because Lugo's got kind of sneaky hands, man. Really should have put away Natan Levy in that fight with LFA. We've seen Natan Levy. He's been okay in the UFC, but I think it's clear he got there a little too soon. But, I mean, Lugo put on a really good performance in that fight that was back in August of 2020, though. So that's my problem. He's been off since that fight, had a couple fights fall through, one with Edwin Chavez in September of this past year with Fury. Not really sure what happened with it. And then Lugo had a health issue that caused him to withdraw from his fight in November. Couldn't find out what that was. So those are obviously my concerns. And Visceral telling me Almeida minus 210, plus 170 on Franco. I don't hate it. And I think that's a little overlined for Almeida based on the last fight. That's on the edge there for me. But those are my concerns with Lugo. If he would have fought the way he did against Levy in August of this past year and like just had a close basically draw with Natan Levy, it was a split decision for Levy, but I thought it was a draw. I thought there was a 10-8 for Lugo, and he was pretty competitive in the third round also. Decent grappler, good on top especially, and he's got just that kind of good compact boxing. Really does have good power too. And I mean, with a guy like Brennan's going to be fighting at distance or he's going to be grappling. That's just how he is. And so for Lugo to win, he's got to get in the phone booth, kind of make it dirty. All that being said, I really do like Lucas Brennan a lot. With Lugo, he's got some experience with kickboxing. Also, losses pretty early on, hasn't faced a good level of competition, straight up. But did look good against Levy again. But that was over a year ago, August of 2020. Lucas Brennan really is on a roll here, 5-0 for the Skywalker. I believe his dad also fights in Bellator still, if I'm not mistaken. But maybe I'm thinking of someone else. But either way, like he's still very, very young here in his career, 5-0, 21 years old, 71-inch reach. So he's going to have a pretty good reach advantage here. But just the grappling really seems to be what he's comfortable with. He does have the ground and pound knockout of Will Smith, a decent guy as well. 3-0 as an amateur as well. So, I mean, I'm tempted to, want to give Lugo more of a chance, but it's just Brennan's going to be the better guy here. He's been more active. Lugo, with health issues as recently as November, don't really make me much more sure. But at the same rate, the price here is crazy. I'm not going to be able to really touch it. But I'll take Lucas Brennan.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised you have it that you rate Lugo that highly. I think he had one good performance in his career.
One good round, really. I'm just trying
against Levy. Yeah. I mean, Lucas Brennan's going to floor him. I think within 30 seconds he's going to have him on his back, having his way. He's just one of those guys, one of those special guys. I mean, 21 years old to be in the physical condition he is with the style he has, it's just going to last. And he looks the part as well, So I think Bellator are going to market this guy really well, and he's going to be a Jalen Bates-esque guy. So
he's getting a Jalen Bates price here, minus 1,200 plus 650 on Lugo.
8-1 for me.
Yeah, 12.5 to 1 here in the States. It's just one of these things where I just get to leave it alone. Unfortunately, it will be in a couple of my longer parlays that I'm just including everybody in. But yeah, I mean, Lugo, good for you for taking the fight. Good for you for making it to Bellator. I'm not going to bet him that heavily, but yeah, plus 650 indeed on Lugo here. That fight with Natan Levy, again, if that was in November of this year, or last year, August of last year, I'm feeling a little more hopeful. But yeah, over a year off, 2 canceled bouts. There's a huge size disadvantage. Yeah. You're talking me out of even considering a Lugo bet, even at plus 650.
Don't. Oh, you're losing whatever you put on it.
Okay, well, we said that about Ben Parrish too. So
I'm way more confident here.
I'd love to see Lugo do it now. No offense to Lucas Brennan.
So would I.
That would be wild.
But I just don't see it.
Yeah, no, that's totally fair. Next fight here, bantamweight fight, first bantamweight fight of the night. Nikita Mikhailov taking on Blaine Shutt. Nikita Mikhailov sounds like a fake Russian bad guy in a James Bond movie to me. Nikita Mikhailov, and then Blaine Shutt. This is a This is an interesting matchup, I guess. It just seems like they want to kind of build up Nikita, if I'm being honest, though. 8-5 playing the shutdown out of Pennsylvania, 29 years old, 5'7", 135er, loss with Bellator in May to Eric Perez. It was a decently competitive fight. He's pretty scrappy with his grappling. He was coming off of a split win of Johnny Lopez, lost to Sean Santella, a veteran with CFFC, beat Robert Walker by submission, lost a submission to Greg Fisher at flyweight. He's fought a lot at flyweight, so he's going to be the smaller of the two guys. Nikita Mikhailov, a pretty good sized Russian fighter. He's he faced a really tough test in his last fight in Brian Moore, and was put in some pretty bad positions. I had Brian Moore in that fight. I thought that the experience and the competition was going to be way too much for Nikita, and I don't know if they kind of got past that fight and were like, let's slow down a little bit or what, because I feel like they're taking a step back in competition here against Blaine Shutt. Less experience, pretty much fights a similar style to Moore, just not as good. And he can do everything. He's a good wrestler, good stand-up, definitely good size for the division. I think taking on a flyweight or a part-time flyweight in Blaine Shutt is an advantage for him after Moore was a part-time featherweight. So, I don't see Nikita having any problems here. He's one of my more confident picks on the card. It might not be impressive, it might be a decision, might not get the finish, but I think he should be able to handle everything Blaine Shutt has to offer and shut him down.
The shutdown gets shut down. Yeah.
Shut down.
Yeah, I think this is one where Bellator he's got a contract with Bellator where he needs 3 fights a year, and they've had to find someone for him. That's what I honestly believe. I think Blaine he's fought very, very mixed opposition. Every time he's fought someone semi-decent, he loses. Yeah. It's one of those guys. I think he's a good mixed martial artist, like on a regional scale. Entering against someone like Nikita, though, Nikita's just going to grind him out. It's going to be, it might be a John Fitch style fight, but it's going to be, but it's still going to be 9-1 Nikita by the end of it. I don't see any way or anywhere the fight goes that Blaine can.
It catches him in a submission. That's the only thing I can see is catches him in some sort of scramble. Yeah. I don't mean to sound dismissive, but it's regional MMA versus global MMA here, and global MMA is going to win.
He's a very good prospect as well. Only 23 as well. These guys are.
Yeah, he's only 23, and I just think Brian Moore was way too soon. And so I do think he should have been. These should have been like reversed. It's just very weird. He should have fought Blaine Shutt a while ago and be getting ready for Brian Moore now, where I'd probably still be considering taking Brian Moore, which is just But after the fight, Nikita had a close moment in the first round against Moore, where Moore had kind of an inverted triangle, almost locked up. But Nikita was just like never really concerned with it, and then from there on out, kind of cruise. He really does fight so much more advanced than 23 years old. I think that, he's a huge favorite here. He's not as much of a favorite as Lucas Brennan, which I was surprised about, but it's approaching it. -800, +550. So we have a +550 and a +650 back-to-back here.
I guess because Shutt is better in equivalent than Lugo. That's probably why.
Yeah.
That's the only reason.
Yeah, exactly. But either way, I do think that we're with each other here with Nikita Mikhailov, the Russian here. Next fight here. This is a potential fun fight. Put together a little bit short notice as Dalton Rosa's original opponent of Romero Cotton pulled out. That would have been a really great wrestling match there. In comes Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. That is his nickname. I think he always refers to himself as the real Rock. He's this guy. He looks like Julius Anglickas. Bald dude from Omaha, Nebraska, 33 years old, 6 foot 75 inch reach against the 6 foot 74 inch reach of Dalton Hercules Rausta, 26 years old, 5-0 against 6-2. Dwayne Johnson taking this fight on short notice. Absolute respect there. 6-2. As I said, won his last fight back in August of this year. Really exciting fight there. Got the Darce choke. It was on 4-8 opponent Devin Fisher. Before that, fought a 3-7 opponent Raymond Gary, knocked him out in 30 seconds. Had lost to an 0-1 Ramiro Wilson. Austin Jones, we're familiar with, had a split decision with him. That was at welterweight. So Dwayne Johnson going to be severely outsized, I think, in this matchup. Out muscled. Dalton Rosta. I didn't put a whole lot of thought into this one, to be honest. I think Dalton Rosta just ragdolls this man over and over again. Probably gets the finish, but yeah, Dalton Rosta, I think, right there with Nikita, for very confident. I'm more confident here in Dalton Rosta, probably, though. But the thing with Dalton that I'm concerned with is when the wrestling doesn't work, what's going to kind of happen with him. He is, a very good hammer. Just we haven't seen too often him have any problems, though. Ty Gorder, really good performance there. Tony Johnson, a good veteran there. And now the short notice replacement in Dwayne Johnson, I think, is a lower level than his last two opponents, too. So he's facing a good level of opponent. He's very sure in what his style is, and I just think he's going to rinse and repeat their wrestling all night.
Yeah, especially as it's a short notice fight for Dwayne. I think he's in real trouble here. I think he's got a padded record, and it's a bad record for the pad. That's
how do you get a 4-8 opponent in Bellator? How do you pull that off?
Yeah,
that's incredible.
He's done someone a favor, I think.
Yeah, and he got a nice interview afterwards. They put it on social media, but now he's paying that favor back, I think.
Yeah, you said that Dalton, if the wrestling doesn't work, then what? He's a good hammer, but do you see in any way Johnson can stop the wrestling? Because I don't.
And I just don't see a welterweight at points, and he is not a big guy.
You cannot prepare for someone this physically athletic and who has worked for. I think he did a 12-week camp for this. So
exactly.
He's super prepared.
Yeah, and again, Ty Gorder and Tony Johnson aren't bad wins at all.
No, they're good.
Tony Johnson, former heavyweight himself. So yeah,
for your fourth fight in pro mixed martial arts to be Ty Gorder is pretty damn good. And he
ragdolled Ty. Ty has talked about that fight quite a bit, and hopefully Ty can get back in there soon himself after his alleged loss. But Dalton Rosta minus 800, plus 500 on Johnson. We got plus 650, a plus 550, and plus 500, and I cannot believe it's that close. I would put a minus 800 in my parlays just to juice him up a little, because Dalton, I don't believe, is losing this fight. So that is that. Romero Cotton, I could definitely see them still making that fight. I think that would be a great fight. Romero Cotton and Dalton Ross, I really do. But that will do it for that. We got two more fights on the prelims here. Syed Awad taking on Chris Gonzalez. This is an excellent fight. Really good matchmaking here by Bellator, off of kind of the squash matches and back to a legit matchup here in Syed Awad and Chris Gonzalez. Both guys coming off of losses. Both going to be very hungry. Chris Gonzalez, 30 years old, 30 and a half. I believe still at Team Alpha Male, not positive though. 6-1. Last fought in July of this past year against Goichi Yamauchi, and Goichi showed him there's levels to this game. A split win over Tokov was in the split over McKenzie, kind of, I think, exposed some of the issues that Chris was going to have as the level got raised. Submitting Roger Huerta.
Imagine that. Imagine being 4 fights into your pro career and they call up Roger Huerta next. I used to love him.
Yeah, 24-12-1, and just, definitely a shell of himself here. And that is also like Chris Gonzalez's most impressive legit win. So the Goichi Yamauchi looked really rough. Now going against a 24-13, 38-year-old Syed Awad, Bellator veteran, Millennia MMA representative, won back in May. to get back on the winning track. So when I said both guys are coming off losses, that was a mistake by me, actually. So my bad there. But he had 4 straight losses. They were to Benson Henderson, Brandon Gertz, Gochi Yamauchi by armbar. Both guys got finished in the first round against Gochi and then got knocked out against Paul Daly. Was having a competitive fight with Mando Nalo before the low blows. And then he knocked out Nate Andrews, who was coming off of a nice PFL run, had a lot of momentum himself. And, Syed Awad kind of showed he's not gone yet. Has legitimate power, really, really good striking. When he can stuff those takedowns, he becomes quite an issue. J.J. Ambrose, Ryan Couture, and, even the Zach Freeman fight, Zach Freeman only had the basically Aaron Pico fight, but still put him away really quickly. Syed Awad, super legitimate on the feet. Chris Gonzalez, legitimate with the takedowns, but he kind of just has the takedowns in position. That's it a lot of times, unless your opponent starts to wilt. And I don't think Awad's going to here. I think Awad's a super live dog in this position. I think he's got to push the pace, keep the volume. If he stuffs a couple of takedowns, we're off to the races. If he doesn't, first 2 takedowns, I think, dictate a lot of this fight and what he does if he gets taken down. I think he does. I think he's ready for it. I think Gonzalez kind of, at 30 and a half, I'm not sure how much he advances at any point in his career. It seems like it's this kind of, he needs the athleticism and the wrestling to win. And I think Awad has a lot more left in the tank here, more experience. Those losses can help him, I think, in a way. And again, I'm going to take a shot here on Awad. I think he gets the KO, I'm going to say.
I was really hoping, because I know you're writing our bets down, but I was really hoping you wouldn't, because I'm going Awad as well.
Okay.
I think he's a better grappler than people give him credit for.
Yeah.
I think just because you lose to Goichi doesn't mean, by submission. Getting knocked out by Paul Daly. Everyone gets knocked out by Paul Daly. So that's, he's called.
And Chris Gonzalez isn't going to knock him out.
Not even threaten it to me. Mm-hmm. Not even threaten it. I think if there's going to be a knockout, Awad all day. I think he's going to frustrate Gonzalez. I think Gonzalez is going to take him down. He's going to get him down, but Awad's going to get back up. Mm-hmm. And then when it comes to that second round, the inexperience of MMA, I think, is really going to show. I know he's 38 years old, and it could look his age, but I think the Nate Andrews fight was a tell. Nate Andrews is not bad. He's a very decent striker as well. Mm-hmm. I'm going Syed Awad as well.
All right. Imagine that we were agreeing on Syed Awad. He's currently a plus 210 underdog. I kind of don't.
What Team Alpha Male does for you.
Yeah, minus 250 on Chris Gonzalez. I'm pretty surprised on that bet, and this is definitely one that we'll see a comment afterwards if we're wrong. There's certain fights that I get the comments after, what the fuck? I trusted you, which it's first of all, it's we are giving you our advice and what we're going with, but it doesn't mean we know all. Last I checked, no one guarantees 100%. But make your own decisions at the end of the day. If you really like Chris Gonzalez here, minus 250, I don't understand. But if you do, you do you. Plus 210, I'm going to take that. Probably get him at KO at around a minus 400 or plus 400. But we're going to move on to the next fight. This is the final fight on the preliminary card, or really excellent prelims here. And ending with former UFC fighter Enrique Perez taking on a very good wrestler and veteran, the Wolf Darian Caldwell. So
this is my fight. This is my fight of the night.
Okay, yeah, interesting. I think it could be kind of boring, but it's very, very close. And but
it's gonna be one scale, isn't it? It's gonna be a 10 or a 1. I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Enrique Perez, Peru. 32 years old, 5'7", 70-inch reach, has actually reached disadvantage and is shorter to Darian Caldwell, which was a little bit of a surprise to me. I don't know what it is about Barzola. I've always thought he was kind of a little bit taller than he is. But yeah, 5'7", pretty undersized for the bantamweight division, to be honest. Has a 70-inch reach, so does have a decent reach. AKA, which is back open now, is where he fights out of, lost his last fight. Well, actually, it was a draw with Irani Yahya back in March of 2020. Lost to Mazavar Evloev by decision. No shame there. Had a really competitive fight with Bobby Moffitt, who's been doing well over in Bellator. Kevin Aguilera had a back and forth fight there. Lost that one. I mean, he's a good wrestler, good grappler. He is willing to mix it up on the feet at times, but he's looking to pressure, use the wrestling. In this fight, I think he's going to have to rely on his stand-up a little more because he's going against a guy in Darian Caldwell who you're not going to be taking down Darian Caldwell, in my opinion. And he's, if anything, going to get the takedowns in this fight, I think. But 34 years old for Darian Caldwell. He's lost his last two. Is fighting with Stanford MMA. 5'10", 70-inch reach. He lost to Leandro Hugo in a very close competitive fight. Definitely seemed like he was a little more willing to use his stand-up than I think maybe he should have been in that fight. But I do think Hugo is a much better stand-up fighter than Barzolo. So I do think Darian Caldwell can get away with some of those things. Obviously, the McKee fight didn't go great. Yeah, exactly. McKee just was going to McKee. Adam Borix, though, got his back early, took it, put him away on Borix, a very legitimate competitor. Henry Corrales also. So has some very good wins over some good guys. I think this is going to be a back and forth fight. I like Darian Caldwell just a little bit more in this spot based on not taking so much time off. Also, at times, I think Barzola shows a little bit of a lack of IQ and is willing to fight the fight of their opponents. That's why he got a draw with Ronnie Yahya in that fight. All he had to do was stand up with him, and he decided not to and go into the world of Ronnie Yahya. I think in this fight could be a similar type of situation where he's doing a little bit too much of fighting Darian Caldwell style of game plan. And I like Caldwell here. He's actually a slight dog, which I was surprised about.
Really?
Yeah, and I'm good. I think he's going to take this one. I like the activity. I've mentioned that in a couple fights. I think it's going to play a factor here.
To beat someone like Henry Corrales for me over 15 minutes is super impressive.
Yeah.
Same as Borix as well. Horiguchi's Horiguchi. Horiguchi is just phenomenal. He's the level under AJ McKee for me. He's just one of the studs. Beating people like Higo as well, and then losing to Higo by split. I also thought I scored it for him. I think it was such a subjective fight that to me he's only lost to Horiguchi and AJ McKee in recent memory. To me, that's the way I'm looking at this fight. Barzola Evloev is amazing, so I'm kind of scratching that as I'm scratching AJ McKee off because that's not how he fights. That was bad matchmaking. But that's what the UFC do. They put you against the best person they can find, essentially. So Caldwell for this, I do prefer him. I'm shocked that he's an underdog. I thought it would be at least even, or he would be the favorite.
Well, it's just about even. I mean, he's a slight underdog. He's plus 105.
Okay, people probably see that he was in the UFC in his last fight, Barzola, and that means he'll win. Whereas Caldwell's probably fought arguably better people, other than scratch Evloev. It's arguably better people. So, no, I like Caldwell as well. I don't think they're going to finish each other. I think it's going to be a slug. It's going to be a 3-round absolute banger. It could be a 3-round ball fest.
I am not as confident about this being my fight of the night. I think this has a very good chance.
I've got two for fight of the night, and the other one is on the main card. So
yeah, I'm gonna say this isn't gonna be fight of the night. Honestly, I think it's gonna either be two grapplers standing up, which is sometimes not the best, or it's going to be two grapplers grappling it up, which we love, but let's be honest.
Are you telling me Damian Maia versus Ben Askren wasn't a masterpiece?
Yeah. Oh, God, dude. That's one of the worst fights in UFC. Oh, man, I forgot. I blocked that fight out. Bunny Caldwell is the dog, plus 105. I love how Bunny's gotten into the odds now. This has made me so happy from when she first started. She would not even listen to the odds. She'd plug her ears, and now she's getting mad about them. I mean, Barzola is a very good opponent. I mean, honestly, you go back and watch the Evloev fight, and he maybe fought Evloev harder than anybody's fought Evloev so far. Definitely better than Nicholas Lentz did. Yeah,
Mike
definitely.
Grundy put up a decent one, but yeah. No,
Yeah,
he doesn't get out of Evloev doesn't get out of second gear.
yeah.
He just cruises.
Yeah, not yet at least. So
Yeah, there's no
it'll be.
need.
I'm trying to catch like that loss, but we'll see. But moving on to the next fight here, we are on the main card now. Sabah Hamasi taking on Jaleel Willis. This is another interesting, very close fight in my opinion. This one reminds me in a lot of ways of the Chris Gonzalez Syed Awad fight. Honestly, it's a lot of the same kind of points we're circling around here. Jaleel Willis, I really like him. Got a great personality. 15-3, 29 years old. He's got a fun style to him. I've been following him for quite a while, back to his LFA days. I'm a big fan of this guy, honestly. The realist, as he's known as, last fought in October of this past year with Bellator. Did have the loss in that one to Magomed Berkamov. Got guillotined in that one in the first round. He's been submitted. Once. He's been finished by KO and then outstruck by Kyle Stewart. And it's sometimes he just kind of gets into these wars and he ends up on the right side of a lot of decisions, but doesn't have that kind of that put away power, I would say. And I think that often causes fighters to be willing to get into a firefight with him. Sabah Hamasi, that's cost him in some instances, like it did with Paul Daly. But said a couple times tonight, this guy's not Paul Daly and Jaleel Willis. And I do think Sabah is going to be willing to take a few shots to kind of get in and land his own. Now, that might result in a Jaleel Willis decision. Very well could. Or if Sabah can catch him, I think Sabah puts him away.
Okay.
I don't have that kind of faith in Sabah, though. I'll be honest. I'm not betting the puncher's chance here. I do think Jaleel wins a decision that should be closer than it is. I just think he's going to land a few more shots. I think the movement's going to be too much. I do think Sabah is getting to a point in his career is kind of slowed down. And I do think the Paul Daly, type of knockouts don't do him favors at this point. He has legitimate power, though. I just think Jaleel knows that's what he has to prepare for here. And I think Jaleel's going to put in another decision. It's going to be his 7th decision and 7 wins. That's my opinion. So I just think the movement and just overall youth and the reach are on Jaleel's side. He just has to avoid the big bomb of Sabah. And I just can't bet it at this price. Sabah is plus 200, minus 235 for Jaleel. That is really steep. I'm not going to be betting Jaleel heavily, but I am taking Jaleel by decision.
Yeah, I'm also taking him. And it's when you have to look out for pretty much one setup, which is he opens up with like a body, almost like a check hook to the body, but it's not quite. And then an overhand. It's going to make it easy for Willis just to outpoint him. And that's how I see it going. I think he's fought some really good people. Mark Lemons is a very good mixed martial artist. And Dakota Bush, just seen him this weekend. I know he's a different Dakota Bush to when he was in LFA. In LFA, he was up and down a little bit, not giving us perfect, a perfect statistic to look at. But no, I like Jaleel in this. I think he's fought better people. I think he's when someone can fight to the decision and win by decision, they're an intelligent fighter because they're not, they're doing what it takes to win. Whereas the other people, if you're relying on one shot, it's Paul Daly's. We mentioned it a couple of times now, but it's Paul Daly's curse almost that he relies so much on his one shot power. He's got. I don't know if you have Mr. Men over there in America, but the books, we call him Mr. Tickle over here because he's shaped like a Dorito.
No, we definitely don't have that here. No. But yeah, Paul Daly.
No, so long, so it's he's got that sort of syndrome.
So yeah, I mean, we both kind of just see as a Jaleel Willis kind of decision here.
I think he can use lateral movement, outpoint him, land those low kicks, hit him with the jab, get out, hit him when he can, get out. It's a very Wonder Boy approach for this fight, I think, for him.
Yeah, no, I agree with you here, and just trying to get set up here for the next fight. Go. Let me just get that up on the
This is
screen.
this is my second fight of the night. The next
Okay.
fight.
All right. All right.
And not just because I met him.
Yeah, Aiden Lee, no surprise here. I'm going to assume that's who you met over Henry Corrales. But yeah, this is a great fight here at 145. Super exciting. Guys both in Aiden Lee and Henry Corrales. I think this is going to be an absolute scrap. I would agree with you. This would be my fight of the night. This is what I had definitely circled on my fight card. I'm actually going to mix it up here. And give me your kind of analysis on Aiden Lee to start here, because this is definitely a guy who I'll make no secret, I've had trouble making reads on. I've made the Tyrone decision his last few fights here. He's an Englishman. You've met him. Kind of give me your thoughts on Aiden Lee in this matchup too.
So he fights out of Team Renegade, which is where Leon Edwards fights out of, and Tom Breeze. Tom Breeze he's the coach down there. So Tom Breeze says he's got stage fright when it comes to actually fighting, which is in the gym no one can touch him. But
exactly. So that's fine to prepare with him.
Exactly, he's an absolute machine. And Aiden Lee's he started off in Cage Warriors at a very young age. He was in Cage Warriors. He was in BAMA, if you remember BAMA, the UK scene.
Oh yeah.
Before that went under, then he went straight to Cage Warriors, and
he's only 26 years old.
Yeah, man. When he was 20 or 19, he was in Cage Warriors, and he was fighting the best of the best when he was 1-0, and that is unheard of. He's kind of got those old school UFC, like a Frank Mir. Frank Mir started in the UFC when he was 2-0, and he's like 26-12 or whatever. It's those sort of records. He's fought incredibly good people like Tom Means, Paul McBain. He lost to someone like Dean Truman, but Dean Truman actually won the belt in Cage Warriors the fight after.
Right.
So it's Saul Rogers. He's fought very good people. Saul Rogers was obviously his debut in Bellator, which was a tough one to get as well for you. Jeremy Petley, people like that who fight out of London Fight Factory in Old Street in London. Very durable, experienced guys. Aaron Pico, I don't know why they matched him with Aaron Pico, because Aaron Pico that was a rough one for him, but he still went 3 rounds. Aaron Pico is that level. So hang on 1 second, I'll shut these dogs up.
No, I know. And so definitely like 10-5. I mean, it is a well. Yeah, coming off of the exactly. So he's coming off of the win there against a Russian and Alexander Osterov. Dropped him and then immediately grabbed the back and put him away with the rear naked choke. So
how much slicker did he look in his movement and on the grappling?
His head kicks too were very fast and hard.
Physically, if you go look at him on Instagram or social media at the moment, anyone that's wondering about it, physically, his body is transformed.
Yeah.
He's just, when you're fighting at 23, 24, 25, your body's still developing. He's now 26.
Exactly.
He's grown into it.
And meanwhile, we have a guy in Henry O.K. Corrales at 35 who's trying to shrink back into being a featherweight. I have not liked this move for him at all the whole time. I get he's coming off of a win. He's fight ready here against a guy in Vladislav Parabchenko, who I've just not been too impressed with. I get he's 16-2, but he looks pretty low velocity and looks like one of those padded kind of Russian type of fighters. But I mean, the Johnny Campbell fight was a huge example of that weight cut and what it's costing him. Even the Brandon Gertz fight, he got a split, but it was a very close split. I mean, he just can only go, I think, a certain kind of level at this weight class at this point. He tried, he's tried against Archuleta, Darian Caldwell, and it's just he gasses out here. And I just think he should be a lightweight. He got that knockout of Aaron Pico, and that kind of, I think, sent a completely wrong kind of message to him about where he should be at moving forward in his career. It was a one-man knockout. He landed it. I just think it's always tough to tell with one-man fights. I think that Aiden Lee is going to make this dirty. He's going to make this a long fight. He's going to make this a long fight. I mean that both in terms of time and length it's fought at. The grappling I give to Aiden Lee significantly. I do think that Corrales can, win a firefight with anybody, but at 145, I'm not sure how much longer he can do it. I don't like him at this weight class, and I like Aiden Lee in this position a lot. I think he's got a ton of momentum. Osterov was a really good win, much better than Parubchenko. In my opinion.
I think Aiden's got a very good gas tank as well. He goes to decision or the third round a lot, and he's still got the same energy and the same output.
And he's 26 at 145, while 35 at 145. Very,
who used
very
to
different.
fight at lightweight. Yeah.
Who used to fight at lightweight. And again,
can you see Corrales going the distance, like physically?
I mean, yeah, sure, but I mean, I don't think it goes in his favor here if it does. I think Aiden Lee wins this fight. I like Aiden Lee a lot here. It's a pick'em -115 both sides right now. They're expecting a very close fight. I'm taking Aiden Lee, and I'm pretty. I like betting him. So I got Aiden Lee in this spot. I do think he gets the finish. Also, I think that he ends up putting it away. So. That's what I go for. Clip it out, everybody. Lewis loves me. I had my suspicions. They've been confirmed.
Anyone that votes for the Brit.
That's all I'm doing. Pandering to the Brit here. Don't let the missus hear that, though. I don't want to break up any homes today. But we're in our co-main event now. This is a fucking weird co-main event. Like, very weird. I try to say very weird when I'm trying not to be disrespectful. But yeah, I'm not crazy about this co-main event here. I'm worried about my boy Bendo Henderson. Can he break this like historic schneid he's on? Islam Mamamedov. I'll be honest, I don't see it happening for a lot of reasons. For one, Islam coming off of a win. He's coming off of quite a few wins, but 21-1 overall, 19 straight wins to be exact. Over in PFL looked really good. Went over to UAE, got a finish. He had a draw with Loic Radzabanov, who's fighting on the Eagle FC prelims on Friday, which is nuts. But Mamamedov had a split decision with Brett Primus, but again, Brett Primus did pretty good number on Benson Henderson in their last fight. So it's 2 fights ago.
You're not allowed to use MMA maths, remember?
Yeah. But I mean, it was just it was just with Benson Henderson. I've just not quite seen that dog for a while now. He's losing to very top flight competition. Brent Primus is his age though, and so a little bit of kind of hoping he was going to look a little bit better. So far in Bellator, I just haven't quite seen that same kind of sharpness for a while. He had a split decision with Adam Picoletti, decent decision over jury, and then lost to Chandler, lost to Jackson, lost to Primus. The last 2 were decisions where he just didn't have a whole lot of offense. He kind of has that body kick and need questions to ask Benson. How does he feel about his wife's MMA career? Because that seems to have more of a bright spot than his career at this point. I guess my question for like Benson, which I wouldn't ask him, but it's like, what is he doing in MMA at this point? He's taking a fight with Mamamedov here. I just think this is terrible matchmaking. Mamamedov wins this fight. Guys, I don't know what else there is to really say. I think that Mamamedov gets another decision, most likely. I think Benson Henderson, his biggest strength at this point is he is good defensively, but he puts no offense together with that defense. So, I think he survives to a decision like he has for a while.
Yeah, he doesn't move or strike the same. Even going back a couple of years against the Miles Jury fight, he doesn't even move like that anymore. What you saw against Michael Chandler, all right, he gets hit. Michael Chandler is, he's a specimen physically, so I'm going to give him a break on that one. But Jason Jackson was embarrassing to me. I thought he should have beaten Jason Jackson, and Brent Primus at least put up a fight. He kind of just let him run over him.
Yeah, but Brent Primus is like 33 also, 34 also.
I know, but
he's not a young man. But he looks just so much younger and more fluid.
That was it. He looked hungrier for the win, which it comes to the point of, is Benson even motivated? Is he getting a big payday? Because if he is, why not fight? I mean, but to me, this is giving Islam a really decent, well-known name. And Bellator obviously want him to be the top of this division. So
right.
For me, I don't see anyway.
It's another Russian contract fight. So like
you know what I mean? Yeah.
Mikolov earlier and now Mamamedov. It's just like we have to get these guys 3 times a year, and here we go.
The Russian wave is in every organization right now,
and it's like you better treat your Russian right, or else they're just going to go to Eagle FC.
Yeah,
like they're just going to be like, you treat me right, or I'm going to Khabib, like straight up. So I think we're going to see we're going to see a lot of walking on Russian eggshells, if you will. Benson Henderson, a plus 300 dog. I am shocked it's that close. Minus 400 on Mamamedov. The only reason I'm not crazy about Mamamedov, split decisions, draws, like that's just not what you want to really see. But but still minus 400. Probably put him in some parlays. Probably put him by decision.
The only thing I can think of is if Mamedov gets a little bit sloppy with a takedown or something, Henderson has every opportunity.
Guillotine.
Yeah, he's got a wicked guillotine. So something like that. He's creative. It's
he's faced. I mean, the who's who at this point.
He's the ex-UFC champion. He got beaten by Pettis, didn't he? So he's I love Benson Henderson. If he can implement his old calf kick game, he's the.
I mean, it'd be great to see him beat Mamamedov. Like that'd be great. But
and then
retire. Then what do you do? Retire, because otherwise you're getting in too deep with like another guy you just should not be fighting. But I mean, it's like Benson Henderson. He's had a tremendous career. The Pettis fights obviously are legendary. The sport would not be where it is at without Benson Henderson, in all honesty, and it has kind of forgotten about him at this point because of the losses. The losses again are the Jason Jackson types. Jason Jackson. It was an embarrassing performance, but Jason Jackson is really hitting that kind of apex in his career that was supposed to happen a few years ago. So, again, he's not losing to terrible fighters. Michael Chandler. So, is Mamamedov that good? I don't know. I just think
you've convinced me that. Nah, give me Henderson.
All right. Okay, you're taking. We got Benson Henderson in a split decision. Yeah. Plus 300. I'm not tripping over my dick to bet Mamamedov at minus 400. That's an American phrase there, tripping over your dick. But it might not be. It might be a phrase that only I say. I do not represent my country well. And so we're moving on to the main event, heavyweight unification belt title match here. And I think it could be a very good one, actually, between Ryan Bader and Valentin Moldavski. These guys are very well matched in terms of physicality. And I just think that I see this being a longer fight. Most of the time with heavyweight fights, it's like, is it going to end in the first round? I would be shocked if this ends in the first round for either side. I do see this being kind of a few rounds. I see a lot of MMA being used by both sides here. I really like Valentin Moldavski from what I've seen, though. So 29 years old, going to be nearly 30 at fight night, 11-1 here. Comes into his fights around 234, that really nice, kind of cruiserweight range. Fighting with Alexander Nevsky in Stary Oskol in Russia, Cabo Sambo style. He just fights a beautiful game plan. He's
pretty sure that's just Fedor's gym, isn't it?
Yep, you're correct. Yep. So he is he looks like a Fedor disciple, straight up. He fights really well. We had Baby Fedor we talked about a while ago. This guy is much better than Baby Fedor. You just don't see him forcing the effort. He wins fights and he'll cruise to these decisions. Tim Johnson, Roy Nelson, and then Lynn Vassell, all those fights were pretty competitive early, and Moldavski just keeps a pace and keeps the pressure. And Joy Ayala. All these fights are very similarly fought, where Moldavski will start at kind of a certain pace and just ramp it up, continue to ramp it up, ramp up the volume, ramp up the movement, switch up the levels. I just think he's very, very good. But I don't think Ryan Bader is bad at all. I think that he's just kind of coming to a certain point in his career that a lot of fighters come to. He's 28-7, 35 fights. That's a ton of fights, 38 years old. power MMA, going up and down from light heavyweight to heavyweight. I wasn't crazy about for him. He had a pretty close fight with Lyoto Machida, if I'm being honest. And then, it was a pretty bad performance against Corey Anderson. Straight up, he got knocked out very quickly. I think he can't be making that weight cut anymore. But I don't think it's all weight cut. I think there's just some serious damage that Ryan Bader's taken at this point, and I just kind of wonder at this point. This could be a spot where I think Moldavski is able to kind of expose the chin as the fight goes and get a finish. It's been a while for Moldavski. It would be his first finish in about 5 fights. But I mean, I just think with Ryan Bader, the damage, the Nemkov fight, 2 straight knockouts in MMA. He had a quick knockout of Fedor Emelianenko, so Valentin is going to be coming in extremely motivated and extremely focused. And I mean, that's never really a concern with the Russians anyways. I like Moldavski in this spot quite a bit. He's just younger and better. And, I think that Bader, we might be seeing the gloves in the middle after this fight. I think he might be focusing much more on coaching and maybe getting excited about Sullivan Colley's career, because I think the days of Ryan Bader are behind him, and Moldavski has arrived and just is going to continue going here.
Yeah, I mean, beating King Mo and in 15 seconds doesn't say a whole lot, does it? When he came over from the UFC, if in the UFC he was always that gatekeeper to the top 5, he could never beat the top 5, but he could beat everyone from 5 to 15, no problem at all. He just looked a league above them. Beating Fedor in 35 seconds as well. It's like jabbed him, didn't he? Knocked him down. It's those sort of things. It's as I say, Matt Mitrione, to me, Matt Mitrione in my head is shit. I've never rated Matt Mitrione ever.
Meathead is not great as a person or a fighter.
As a person, he's a weirdo. He's a complete nut job. But Moldavski, for me, I think if this was a 3-round fight, I would absolutely bet the house on Ryan Bader. I really would.
Justin just really okay. Why?
Bader is a bum. I really do rate Ryan Bader. I think he's got an absolute stellar jab and a power right hand. He's like a heavyweight version of Chad Mendes. That's the way I look at him. He's got an absolute ridiculous power double, and he slams every single person to the floor. No matter who it is, you're going to the mat. He will take Moldavski down. No doubt in my mind. He will win 1 or 2 rounds. This is a 5-round fight. That's why I'm taking Moldavski, because his cardio is nuts. His output is like Max Holloway for a heavyweight. It's ridiculous. And that's why I think he's going to absolutely light him up. And I could see a 4th round stoppage. I really could. But I think it's going to... Smart money's his decision. I think he's going to take round 3, 4, and 5, possibly on from the 7-minute mark. I think you're going to see Ryan Bader try and finish him quick. He's going to wrap up a neck. He's going to hit him with an overhand. It's going to be that sort of fight. And
I liked how Moldavski dealt with the wrestling of Timothy Johnson also.
Yeah.
Really large, good wrestler. And Timothy.
But there's a difference. Tim Johnson and Ryan Bader, I don't even compare them. Ryan Bader to me is just phenomenal. It's size-wise. It's size-wise, yes. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where, but again, I think Ryan Bader is much more suited for heavyweight at this point. I do think if he has a career, it's going to be at heavyweight for the rest of it. And 38 isn't old for heavyweight exactly. It's just 35 fights, some major damage there also. And Moldavski, I think, is a real deal. But I'm curious where kind of Ryan Bader is at this point. Is he getting more focused on building his gym, focusing on the Sullivan Colleys of the world? Yeah. Or does he want to be – I mean, he's fighting a championship fight here. If he loses this, does he want to make that climb again?
That's what I mean, though. You got to remember, he's still the champ. He's still at the top of the food chain.
No,
so he
absolutely.
Can't
but he loses this and he's not anymore, and then what? I guess
I think he has nothing more to prove. He's been the double champ of Bellator. Right. He was in the UFC. He's made his money.
His gym is getting really good. Yeah, he's got a great gym.
Yeah, I think he's good. The one thing that surprised me was I didn't realize he was 38, and I didn't realize Moldavski was nearly 30. I thought he was a lot younger than he is. I always forget people's age.
I mean, a Russian 29 is,
so that's prime. He's prime now.
I believe that's what they call teenagers in Russia. So yeah, I mean, it's like we're fine. Like you can like Fedor is just what is Fedor like 48 at this point or something, and he's fighting like he's a 25-year-old.
I think he's only like 44, 43. Yeah.
Yeah, but either way,
But
he's fighting.
he looks 75.
Yeah, but he's fighting like he's 20, so that's all that matters. Putin looks like he's a million. What we're gonna do now, actually, is we're gonna do a quick little overview of the Eagle FC card. We're not gonna go into super depth with this, but we're gonna give our quick picks there on that. It is gonna be on Fight Pass over here. It is this Friday, so when everybody tells you there's no MMA, just kind of look at them funny and just run
casuals.
away.
You can use the word casuals. Yeah,
you can use the word casuals here, but it's a really, really cool card. I'll be honest. Top to bottom, I really like what Eagle FC is going to be doing, and I think they're gonna become quite a force in the game. Honestly, I think they're going to be talked about in the echelon of LFAs initially, then Cage Warriors, and then also we're going to be talking about with PFL and Bellator. I think pretty quickly.
Have money behind them, and they just got Chael Sonnen as a commentator for the
Chael Sonnen and Felicia Spencer.
Yeah, I mean they're doing it right. They're doing it
correctly. It seems like they're surrounding themselves with fighters and having it ran by fighters. We're just going to real quick go through this. 135 Sean Bunch taking on a Uzbekistani flyweight in Frizdev Konzanov. Sean Bunch, he's a legend, man. He's gonna go in there and test your wrestling and everything like that. With Fridaz, I don't know a lot about this guy, so these are the guys we're gonna learn about. He's coming off of two straight losses, so it's definitely gonna be interesting. But yeah, I think Sean Bunch probably takes that fight. If I'm being honest, I think the experience, but we don't know. These are the guys I think we're gonna learn about as this organization kind of starts. The Frizovs, the Stika Mudavs, and the Ayada Majadadins. Like, those are the guys we don't quite know about. Are you familiar with any of these initial four guys, though?
I'm familiar with Muduev and Bunch and then Hussinger and Jackson, Zach Zane.
I know. So what do you know about Mudiev? He's a Russian here? And
he's slick.
He looks slick.
It's the hair. No,
it's the hair. He looks like he's got long arms.
He's got absolutely really good.
Oh yeah, with CFFC, I remember watching him. Yep.
Yeah. I was gonna say you'll remember him when you see him. He's really slick, good lateral movement, distance management's perfect. He's got a sharp jab, and then he counters really nice with the right cross. Most of his fights are him just lighting people up, to be honest with you. So
and then DeMarcus Jackson, I know him from LFA. So definitely be interested to see him with Hunsinger. We have Loic Razabanov on the prelims against Zach Zane at again, these are 165 fights, so we're seeing the 165 division get developed here. Zach Zane, definitely not a super high level opponent. I'm expecting Loic to put on a show there. Sean Asher, absolutely terrible. But he's going against Jorgen De Castro, who is just getting blessed with these fights. Jorgen De Castro faced a very low level of opponent in his last fight and almost blew it. So that it's definitely to be watched, but not bet on. The Arman Asapanov guy, this guy was a favorite in his fight with PFL. I remember I was so confused. He went up against I believe Chris Wade. Chris Wade. Chris Wade knocked him out. But Asabanov apparently has a lot of hype behind him. He's going up against a 3-1 fighter, so it'll be interesting there. Anthony Ninja Kawani taking on Magomed Daliyev. Very good Russian with every single Russian name thrown into one. Kurmaza Gomedov taking on John Howard. I just threw out. It's a really interesting. We got Rashad Evans in the co-main event against Gabriel Checho. I'm going to be really sitting back and watching a lot of these fights. I want to see how these fighters look in this organization and everything before I'm really betting on it. And then Tyrone Spahn versus Sergey Karatanov in an alleged MMA fight that's going to be fought all on the feet. So
Spahn is very confident right now as well. MMA Junkie did a really good interview with him in a hammock. If you haven't watched that, go check that out. It's only 5-10 minutes, but it's he's so fucking confident.
And Spahn would definitely be one of the spots that I'm looking to bet if I am betting in this position. But it is honestly, I'm going to be betting it sparingly. I want to kind of see how the drug testing works with Eagle FC first, how much they're allowed to be juiced or not juiced, weigh-ins, all of those things. So,
do you reckon they've got the Ryzen contract where it said we will not test you in capital letters?
That's what I'm waiting to see. We'll definitely know if we see a whole new Konov and all these guys who like these Russians like. We're going to be definitely learning a lot here, but that is going to do it for the breakdown show here. Lewis, always appreciate you, man. We got a couple Bellators coming up. I think it's going to be a really exciting one. The UFC is going to be much more entertaining, and just sit back and watch that one. Just kind of wanted to go over it really quickly there. But timestamps are going to be in the comments if you need to go back. Justin, Bunny, everybody else, appreciate you all in the comments, all the shares and everything. It's been going very, very well. We keep on going here. Eagle FC on Friday, Bellator on Saturday. And anything coming up on the channel, again, for you that you want to particularly point out, Visceral, appreciate you stopping by, as always, man.
Yeah, we've got Austin Vanderford versus Gegard Mousasi is happening. I think it's 25th February in Dublin, Bellator Dublin. But I've got the Who Wins coming out nice and early. It's 1 p.m., so whatever, 8 p.m., 8 a.m., whatever it is. Morning for you. Morning in the US. That's coming out tomorrow. All the Who Wins coming on, review shows, all the good stuff, MMA shows, and then UFC London. Been, all the card is being stacked up for that. So
March 19th, UFC London should be great. The UFC recap shows always on Lewis's channel. Also, those are great listens.
Every Monday.
The MMA podcast every Monday had a really great one a couple Mondays ago with a weight cutting nutrition expert that I think everybody really should go back and listen to.
Condition nutrition.
It helped a lot. It definitely helped a lot with my kind of preparation and recognizing certain fighters' preparation or lack of preparation. Manny, thank you for joining us. But enjoy the fights, everybody, this weekend. Eagle FC, Bellator. Appreciate you all joining me. Until next time, we'll see you. Keep taking care of each other out there.